Welcome back to the MMA Creators Podcast with myself, Will at Casuals Corner, and Leo of Leo Cooper's MMA. This is the 20th episode, so this is somewhat of a milestone. And it's a good episode to have 20 because we've got a lot to dissect. We've got a lot to get stuck into. And my mind is racing where we even begin. We'll put the UFC on the back burner. We'll put your love life on the back burner. We'll put Abu Dhabi on the back burner. And we'll just get stuck into the meat and potatoes of the social media world.
Where you're going, where I think you're going.
Of course I'm going where I think we're going, because that's where everyone's attention was, unless you're a diehard purist, which I clearly am not.
Even the purists are watching it, let's be honest.
True, that is true.
They were.
I did see some slander, though, but...
Yeah, I saw... Right,
I've got so much...
I'll let you go,
To get off my chest, I'm going to let you speak first. Otherwise, I may just rant and I don't know what I'm going to say.
I can't lie. Up until the co-main event and onwards, it was actually really fun. And I'm not going to don't sit here and talk to me like that. The Dean the Great versus Willie. That fight, that's like one of the best boxing fights I've ever watched, mate.
What a fight.
I was loving it. Yeah. See, I mean, that's kind of what you get when you have like guys who are just willing to just... They don't see themselves as conventional boxers. So everything sort of bit of caution gets thrown out the window. And it's just a great fight. That was fair play to that other guy's chin, man. Some of those shots he took. Oh my God. Yeah. Straight out of a video game. Yeah, it was a great fight. The one after that was great. Most of the prelim fights and the main card fights were really fun. And then it's just a shame that I think the Dillon Danis fight, I think we should have all expected it to go that way. Let's be honest. That was pretty awful.
No
what?
I disagree.
How exactly? Please.
It was the last bit. I loved it.
Say your case.
I loved it up until the co-main event. I actually turned it on and thought, this is incredible. The production was... No, I know. I'm just agreeing with you. The production was great. The commentary was actually really entertaining. They had a sold-out 20,000 stadium. Everyone was in there for every fight. It was amazing.
It was something, yeah.
I hadn't really been I'm going to be honest, right? I'm still annoyed. I'm still annoyed at that co-main event. And we'll talk about the main event. What did you think of it? Just take me through it from your perspective.
I realistically, after like 5 minutes, I was like, I feel like we should have expected this. But I have to give, in a way, I have to give credit to Dillon Danis for selling the fight so well that he almost led us to believe it was going to be anything else than that. Do you know what I mean? Like, he got so many people tuning into that fight as if it was going to be some sort of grudge match. When realistically, we all should have realized that Dillon Danis was just going to be Dillon Danis and do what he did. So in a way, I have to give him credit for that. But his performance in the ring was, shocking. I can't lie. He had no intention of trying to win there. And that's so poor, to be honest. It's a long pause.
It's because I don't know. I was so invested in this fight. I have not been this disappointed ever in a fight.
You fell into the trap, mate. You fell into the trap.
No, I didn't fall into the trap. This is what I wanted to explain. This is what I wanted to explain, right? Because I made a reaction video on it, and a lot of comments were, "What did you expect? He's not even a boxer. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. He's not a That's completely missing the point of why I'm annoyed. And that's completely misunderstanding who Dillon Danis even is. Yes, he is a masterful troll. Yes, he is a meme creator online. But Dillon Danis, at his very core, whether we realise it or not in a day-to-day, is a competitor. Fact. There's a reason that he's fought in MMA. There's a reason that he's been in the training camps of Conor McGregor. There's a reason that he's been around some of the best fighters in the world. There's a reason he trained with Alex Pereira. There's a reason that he won world championships at brown belt. He's a competitor. And you can listen to him on multiple interviews, and whether it sounds like delusion or not, him saying, I want to become UFC champion, of course, that is delusion to an extent. But my point remains is there is a base level of competitor within him, right? So when I saw him come out, I thought, okay, he's probably going to look to gas Logan out a little bit. I didn't expect him to be a good boxer. I did not expect him to be a good boxer. I did not even expect him to necessarily win. I expected him to at least fight and throw more than 9 punches in an entire fight. And he sort of got caught in his own trap. And I could be off on this, but I guarantee I'm pretty close. He tried to create.
Trying to gas him out, right?
He did try and gas him out 100%, right? But then I think there was actually a small shift. I think it was sort of second round, third round, where he realised not that Logan was particularly great and he was probably anything better than he imagined, but he was actually worse than what he thought in his own head and realised that he actually couldn't do much. And then he started leaning so far into the, I'm going to make this the Nate Diaz. I'm going to try and create moments. I'm going to try and act and show as if I don't even care and this doesn't mean anything to me. That's not true. I don't care what you tell me, because I went online afterwards and I saw what the discourse would be around it. I was just interested because when I saw him going for takedowns, and by the way, I said, I can't remember if it was on the live stream or in my comments, I said, this is going to look like if he's down in the third or in the fourth and he realizes he can't win, he's going to jump on the guillotine. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
He goes guillotine, pulls guard, double leg. He looks for these big moments, these big Nate Diaz moments. And I thought, oh, that's really sad.
But you're not Nate Diaz, are you? It's kind of like, it's kind of like the kid who's like trying to be cool, just sort of, riding on the coattails and trying to, do the same thing someone else has already done, and it just doesn't work, and everyone feels a bit sorry for him.
I felt like
that last bit. I didn't really feel sorry for him. I think you get what you deserve, really. Sold the fight well, but if you act like that in the cage, or the ring rather, you're not going to get any respect from no one. So
no. This is where you're wrong. Okay. Because I went online and I always read the comments because I like to see what the discourse is after it, right? And so as he's doing all these stunts, and Ariel said exactly what I was thinking on the call. To be fair to him,
he's spitting facts that whole night. Can I just say, shout out Ariel Helwani, man. He's doing nothing but spitting. Honestly, a lot of the guys in the commentary I didn't like, but whenever Ariel was on it, it was good. He's very good.
He said exactly what I was thinking. He said he's trying to create these big moments, and it's actually a little bit sad. And that's exactly how I felt. And I was a fan of him coming into this, and I thought, oh, no one's actually going to buy into this in regards to these hype moments, are they? No one's actually going to buy into these. But guess what? They did. And I'm going online, and majority, not everyone, of course, but the large majority of it was probably more casual fans, I'll be honest, in comment sections.
No, I agree. I know where you're going. Yeah, I saw that as well.
But they were saying,
defended him.
They were saying, oh, he hyped him up. He said X, Y, Z about his misses. He's gone into the ring, didn't get knocked out, took a big bag home and left. And I commented on one person's post because he said something like that under my thing. And I said, with all due respect, mate, that is a loser mentality. That is a loser mentality. If it was some random content creator who's just been hyping up the fight, goes in there, doesn't do much, gets a big payday and walks out, yeah, whatever, fine. Dillon Danis is actually a competitor. I know people want to say, oh, he's not a fighter, oh, he's a jiu-jitsu guy. He's a competitor. And he comes from a very privileged background. And why that's relevant is because when you come from a position of wealth and your dad's or your mum's rocking up in Rolls Royces to your jiu-jitsu practice, you lack monetary drive for purpose. And Dillon Danis has always cared about making money, but it always has gone deeper with him. It's always gone deeper. If you actually listen to him, he's a competitor. And I said to the geezer, I was like, that's a loser mentality. He's not happy that he's lost that fight. There's no way. But there was a small shift where he realised, man, I'm getting too angry. I'm getting too angry. But my point is, I'm going to wrap it up before I just start ranting. My point is,
I'm just letting you cook, yeah.
Everyone has been saying for 4 years, he's not a fighter. He's not a fighter. He was very unfortunate with injuries. That would have hampered him 100%. But he's just gone out there, and if he'd gone out there and had a close competitive fight and got TKO'd, he lost. One of them things, he'll get memed, he'll get trolled, same as he would have done before.
As well, isn't he? Yeah.
Would have got paid, move on. But he didn't do that. He went in there and he threw 9 punches or 15 punches in 6 rounds, didn't even touch him, and then tried to start a fight with the security. And I thought, this is sad.
That was when it was done. The moment he started swinging at the security, that's when it was done. Yeah, no, you have a right to be. To be honest, I think at least it was more entertaining than that main event. I've got to say, that was shockingly dire to watch. You'd think, and I like KSI, and I grew up watching him, and obviously I don't really watch him anymore, and I haven't for a while, but I always liked the guy. But to see like, you'd think after so many years in the lab, in the training room, trying to improve and work, you'd think you'd see some sort of stylistic difference. He has not changed a bit really in his style, and it's quite frustrating to watch. Like, why are you dancing like Michael Venom Page in a boxing ring? It just doesn't work. He did the same thing over and over. It's like he was stuck pressing the same button on a controller. You bobbing up and down, and then swinging a looping right hand, and then if he misses, you clinch. And that's it. There was no sense of combination work, no body work, which I think was massively open there for loads of that fight. None of that. Uppercut was on because Tommy kept dipping his head. Didn't even set that up. That's like basic analysis. I don't even like. I'm not even a boxer, and I feel like that's pretty obvious. I don't want to be an armchair analyst too much, but I feel like that's pretty clear cut, no? And I feel I don't think I had streamed about I streamed an immediate reaction to the fight afterwards because I didn't get to stream earlier in the evening because I was watching the card, obviously. And I got a lot of like new people in just joining, and then there was a lot of discourse there about who won. I think you could have gone either way. I don't think either guy deserved a win particularly because it was so shit. Like, excuse my French, but it kind of was. That's what it was. And I don't really blame Tommy for that because I do. Like, how do you? Yeah. I don't know, but I mean, I feel like he should know how to. Yeah, but he should know how to adapt, I suppose. Agreed. But at the same time, it is difficult to deal with a guy like KSI because of how he doesn't box. He doesn't fight like a boxer. And I feel like if you don't play that game, it's always going to be interesting and just kind of awkward to deal with on the opposite end. But at the same time, a guy like him, he should know to learn to adapt, to be ready for that clinch, to be able to maybe frame off and start working combinations. But yeah, it was a poor performance from both guys. But at the same time, the word robbery gets thrown around like massively all the time. And it's just not one of those. It's not one of those.
How can you get robbed a fight when neither of you done anything? I know you've got a point taken.
The rounds were close. My point is, my sort of, what I clarify as a robbery, my sort of benchmark for it is if the rounds are close, then it's not a robbery. If a fight can be close, but if the rounds are clear, then that's a robbery. I feel like, do you know what I mean? So if you've got a fight that's close, but the rounds are clear to score, then that can be clearly judged as a robbery. But if the rounds are close and you can't really judge round by round pretty easily, you could go either way on a lot of the rounds, and it's not a robbery.
I've not really seen too many robberies, to be honest. I actually
like Dominic Reyes, John Jones. For me, that's a clear robbery. The fight was close, but it was clear 3-2 for Reyes. That's why I see it as a robbery. Same with Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon.
Yeah, but I think if you're talking one round,
so that's the way I see it.
I think if you're talking one round, can we be using a word like robbery? This is a conversation for another day. Like, let's not get stuck into it.
I think you can. And anything past that is a robbery as well, obviously, in terms of like more rounds. But I think the benchmark is how clear cut they are to score. I feel like that's where it's more at fault of the judges, and that's what would make it a robbery. And that fight was not that.
I agree with everything you said. I think the style of MVP works so well because he's curated it over a decade, and he's also used it in an MMA realm where he disguises different attacks behind that. Knees, kicks, elbows, different attacks. You don't have that element of surprise in boxing, so it's a lot less effective. Even if he were to do that and cut a few angles, it would have looked like probably a very different fight. I think the problem was, on one hand, you have KSI, who crashed into range with that style, and on the flip side, you had Tommy Fury, who, as a professional boxer, the edge in reach, the edge in experience, the edge in big stage atmosphere, all of that, everything within his favour, he seemed to make the same mistake that a lot of strikers sometimes make in MMA when they don't have good enough use of their feet and they crash into range against the cage and they fall into their opponent. So they may have them hurt, and instead of having their feet under them, having good balance and being able to navigate their attacks with their feet, they sort of fall into that clinch. And you think, well, disengage. But it's almost like they can't because they've just fallen into that. And you saw that with Tommy Fury. If you go back and watch it, which you're not going to because it was a rubbish fight. But he had not, his footwork, his control of his feet is not good enough. So on one hand, you've got KSI crashing in, and on the other hand, you've got Tommy who doesn't know how to control his feet and stay at range, which was their game plan, and you heard multiple times. So it was just the perfect combination of just this dire fight. And that is exactly what it is. And it doesn't matter who won because no one won that fight. Let's be clear, no one won that fight.
agree.
And as you said, the whole undercard, so exciting. There was some really... That one that you mentioned was crazy.
That was unbelievable.
That's one of the best boxing fights I've ever flipping watched.
It is. So that's complete. That's not even like harsh to say. Like, no, I don't care what Boxing Furious to say. It was fun as fuck. Like it was. The other guy came back in the 5th round.
He would have won that. He would have won that.
That's crazy. And the guy who won, he dislocated his shoulder in the start of the 3rd round. He switched to southpaw and was fighting with one arm, and then it popped back in, and he kept going. It's like only there. It's crazy.
They actually failed massively at the top because that was just
I have to give
so
credit
good.
in a small way. I have to give credit to KSI in the sense that I liked his I actually quite liked his clinch work. Like he was willing to really work in the clinch and just throw. It was a bit rash and a bit scrappy, but I liked it. I think he was active in the clinch. He landed a couple of nice shots in there. To be fair, I quite like that. But yeah, as an overall performance, it was pretty rough. Not enough improvement from both guys. I agree about the clash of styles, just making it really, really, really poor to watch. It's not a fight I want to see run back. I don't think anyone wants to see that run back.
The last thing I'll say on this is we have to. This is important. We have to stop entertaining Tommy Fury as a professional boxer.
Oh, of course. No.
And that isn't a dig or a slight on him.
Actually. No, I disagree. I mean, as in an elite level professional boxer, yeah. Professional boxer, no. He can box. Let's not get it twisted. He's just not great.
No, let me finish. I'm so annoyed at all of this. We need to stop entertaining. No, my point is, I'll be clear on how I say that, right? I'll be clear on actually to explain that. We need to stop entertaining him on the pedestal of being this undefeated professional boxer that all these people in crossover boxing are going against. No. Tommy Fury is crossover boxing. Like that shift happened last night.
He did say he's quitting that though.
What, quitting pro boxing and going into film?
No.
That's not happening.
That's not influencer boxing.
That's not happening. That is not happening. That is not happening. That is not happening. Because guess what happens? He goes into fights. If that were to be the case, right? He's going to stop making big paydays and he's going to go what? And fight journeyman pro and then build his way up to a world championship. No, that is not happening because the money isn't there for him. And also, I think it's very painfully apparent his skill level probably. And listen, I may be getting ahead of myself because I don't really know boxing that well. But I'm just saying, if you can't use the fundamental of a jab and stay at range against someone like KSI, who isn't from a professional boxing round, fair play to him for putting in the work into that level.
No,
that's never happening for you. That just isn't happening for you. It's a very, very fundamental of what was happening. And I also think we have to stop now building these big cards around him because, let's call a spade, he's not exciting. In any way, he's not exciting. He wasn't exciting against Jake Paul. He wasn't... What am I saying?
He's not.
He wasn't excited against KSI. He's just not exciting. And I think the thing that made the undercard so special, and I heard them say it on commentary a few times, is with Misfits, it's not necessarily about winning or losing. It's about entertainment in the fighting perspective.
I completely agree.
So if you lose, but essentially you die on your own sword, that's what they want. They don't care if you've won and you've squeaked out a decision. Have you gone there to fight? Have you gone there to entertain? Have you gone there to put on a spectacle? Because that's what it is. He done none of those things. And I think that main event lost sight of, and I understand why, because there's a lot of stakes there. I completely get it. But I think the only fight that lost sense of that was the one at the top. And they sort of played it as an actual pro sort of / exhibition boxing match. Let's move on.
I will say, because of that, I didn't end up watching the UFC. I'm unashamed. So if you did, you really are gonna have to film me. No, man, I was going to. And it was just really, I had a long day, man. So I was really shattered. I can't lie, because I jumped on the stream as well for an hour. A lot of good viewing there. We peaked at like 35 viewers, which is kind of nuts on YouTube.
Nice.
I know, big growth. But yeah, no, it was a fun time on the stream. But I just didn't have the energy to watch the rest of the MMA. I did see that I've seen some of the KOs and the finishes. I saw that Michel Pereira got a fucking KO. I just do want to say, how the hell that man ever made 170, I will never understand.
Because do you know how much
he
weight
looked way bigger than... I don't want to know.
Have
it's
a guess.
Awful. 20, I don't know. 20 pounds? Probably more than that. I don't know. More? Less?
More.
30?
46.
Fucking hell. That is insane. Jesus
46
Christ.
pounds.
Yeah, I mean, he looked bigger than Petrosky when I was watching the just the sort of quick fire highlights of that.
He's massive.
Not that it was match. And it's a great finish as well. I love how I've said this when I first made my video on him a while back, one of my earlier videos. I mentioned how he sort of developed into a more disciplined sort of game plan, but he still kept that flair and mobbing style. And he sort of found the perfect blend and he started to put it together. I've always thought he's really underrated in that division, and I'd love to see what he can do. And it's been a while since we've seen him in the cage. So see him get a finish like that was really, really good to see. Against Petrosky's, pretty formidable guy. So I'm very impressed. I can't wait to see where he goes at middleweight, because I've always said he's got the skills to, I don't know about winning a belt just yet, but I always think he'd had skills to maybe crack the top 5. I think he's very, very, very talented. He's just, a lot of it was fight IQ, being a bit of a showman, and he lent too far into that. What comes to mind is do you remember the Tristan Connolly fight? Guy moved up a division on short notice, and then ended up somehow winning against Fisher-Aero, who was breakdancing before the fight even started and gassed himself out. But he's clearly past that now. He's clearly become a much more disciplined fighter. That's it, really. And fundamentals are there. He looks good. I can't lie. He looks very good.
I've seen almost every athlete that would shock you out of camp in regards to online. People like Jalen Turner comes to mind first and foremost.
Massive, man. Crazy.
I've never been as shocked as when I saw Michelle Pereira at Extreme Couture next to Sean Strickland, the middleweight champion.
Yeah, I've seen clips of them sparring together.
Not believe what I was seeing. He wasn't just big for the weight class or, he's tall, or how does he cut down? He was massive, absolutely massive. And you have to look at his age now. He's sort of getting on a little bit, and you can't be cutting that much weight. And now we look at Michelle Pereira and we think he was actually maturing in his game quite a lot anyway. Now you start taking out the weight cut and the fight IQ and the fact that he can be more consistent. I'm excited for that. Yeah, I actually did have him to knock him out.
I think we're going to see him being more active. We're going to see him more
active,
next week,
week after. I don't think that's going to come to fruition, but...
But we like it. That's what I always... How long's it been, actually? I'm at
14 months.
Fucking, I was about to look it up. You got me there. Fair play. This is a long
Wikipedia
time.
up here, mate.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, see, I love watching him fight, so it's always good, because he knocked out Danny Roberts. Sorry, Danny, we love Danny Roberts, but he was always been a bit explosive on the scene, So it's good to see him get back in the win column. I mean, well, he won his last fight as well, but he just hopefully gains some momentum now.
Yeah, he's a pay-per-view fighter for sure.
Yeah, Barboza on the main event. Obviously, we can rush through that. What a comeback! I've had a quick run through the highlights there. Oh man, I mean, I love Yusuf. Sadiq Yusuf's very, very formidable guy, and Barboza's. I saw someone say that Edson's not the guy who's sort of known for not being able to come back, and sort of when the chips are down, isn't able to sort of rally and gasses out, and he can't really do 5 rounds. He proved everyone wrong last night. I can't lie, I was very impressed from the highlights I watched. Looks really good, and honestly, he's in a nice bit of momentum now. It's Quarantillo and Yusuf's scalps in his locker, which is very, very good. Yeah, so excited to see where he goes. I don't know, what would you make next for him at featherweight? It's a great
just touching on the cardio point, he has been doing a lot of marathon training. He's been doing a lot of marathon training and said that his cardio has been better than it's ever been. And he was healthier than he's ever been, sort of coming into it. And we really saw that, because not only to go 5 rounds and to push that pace, that's one thing. But to take that much damage in the first, arguably a 10-8 round, arguably a 10-7 round on the criteria, and then rally back, that's even more impressive. And we even got to see a signature spinning wheel kick to the dome that nearly put him out. And it was just absolutely vintage from start to finish. Really nice body work throughout the whole thing.
The word I was about to use.
I think he racked up nigh on 100 body shots.
I love that. Yeah, Edson's always fun to watch. We talked about that briefly last week. We all said it's a sneaky little fight night. I think the more I looked at it, the more fun it looked. And, there's some good fights on there.
It was a bit like this.
Barboza's a great way to round it off.
It was a bit like that.
What, good and then bad? Or
it wasn't like good, bad, but I just mean
like in between.
Superstar-studded matchups, and then superstar. And it was like that kind of throughout the
great leg kicks from Martinez, by the way, on Yanez. Dealing with a boxer like that. Oh my god, the way that the sound picked that up, terrifying.
We need to talk about Martinez
losing as well. That was pretty interesting.
We need to talk about Martinez.
I always thought Martinez was underrated. I liked that fight for both guys, but Martinez is felt like been slept on a little bit by a lot of maybe not hardcore fans, but just general UFC watchers.
6 in a row.
I think he's very talented. Yeah, exactly. Really garnered some momentum. Yeah, killer, man.
And you look at the
I
people
don't know
that
who you make from.
you look at the people that he's
Said
beaten as well.
Nurmagomedov. Like, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
A lot of good fights on there. Yeah,
Said
Vince Morales,
Nurmagomedov,
Cub
Swanson. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm looking now.
And that stops him with
Davey
low
Grant beat
kicks
him,
as well. That's stopping with low kicks as well. So
Thomas Almeida as well.
Martinez, you have to give him a good ranked opponent. He called out for Merab.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think he's going to get that.
That's a bit.
I don't think he's going to get
bit far
that.
for that. Yeah.
They're looking at the Henry Cejudos, and with all due respect to Martinez,
not there yet.
He isn't the outspoken nature of the likes of Henry Cejudo or even Merab. Merab's not a crazy troll, but he's outspoken. He speaks his mind, and he's pretty big on social. He's got a big following. But then again, Martinez has a decent following. He's got a good camp. He has good support. So, man, he's just dangerous because when you face a kicker like that, there's no way that you can go into that fight without that on your mind. So you have to be so cautious of that. And I think just from the first one he landed, it was just sort of that was it. It sort of just was a downhill spiral after that. And for Yanez, it's just weird because
he's so talented as well. It's just I feel like the matchup wise, it's not done well for him there.
No,
I mean Rob Font, I think experience took over there a little bit. Maybe he sort of threw himself into the fire willingly and tried to trade and didn't work out for him. I think this fight was more a product of not being able to have the ability to counter there. I don't know because he's so fun and I love watching him fight. So I don't know, man. I don't know where you take him because wasn't he 5 in a row undefeated or something?
5 in a row, 5 stoppages. No, 4 stoppages.
That doesn't make sense. What I said.
4 stoppages, 1 win, and they were all bonuses. So I think you have to put him on a pay-per-view, and you have to put him on a pay-per-view with a boxer.
Give him a nice little layup, I think.
Yeah, give him a boxer.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's not.
But I don't want to dwell on the fight night too quickly. I do want to brush for your predictions for 294. I feel like we haven't. It's been a while since we had a pay-per-view. I feel like because I've been sitting on these all week. I've been talking about it on stream with the chat all week about my opinions, where other people are thinking. I want to. We can just run through some of the fights on there. I'll throw some names at you. You give me your thoughts. I know what you're going to say for Nathaniel Wood versus Naimov. But I want to know how you think Nathaniel's going to do it.
It's just, it's hard when you have someone like Naimov because he's very talented, but there isn't a lot of tape on him. You can't.
No, I know.
Not that.
I will say, I don't think he looked that good I don't think he looked stellar in his last fight. To be honest, I know he won. Didn't think he looked that great. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be real. He didn't look incredible, but he got the nod.
But when you're flatlining Jamie Malarkey, it's pretty impressive.
I know, it's true. Yeah, he was losing that fight though pretty soundly. Yeah, it's very true as well. Good knockout.
So it almost makes him more dangerous, if you like, if you have someone like that on your hands, because he's been proven that he can just be dangerous throughout. In truth, just in preparation of what I've seen from Nath, is the incredible thing about fighting of any level, which is what is just so fascinating about it, is it does not matter what you look like in the gym or in your sparring sessions or in training.
It's those 15, 25 minutes.
It's those 15, 25 minutes. And I think what Nath does particularly well is he just comes alive in when the sort of lights are on and it's dialed in, it's pressure, and it's like, right, okay, now it's time to perform. I think that's when he's sharpest. And I watch him in training, and don't get me wrong, like it's not like he's looking rubbish. He looks sharp, mate. It's always just the thing is with Nath specifically, right? Is there's a couple of weapons in his game that he can't even use in sparring. So it's like you don't even ever get to see him properly fight in the gym to his full potential anyway, because he can't use certain weapons. He can't low kick. That's one of his best weapons. Like, he can't really low kick. And obviously when you've got pads on, it's very different to when you don't have pads on. And that just changes the fight drastically in itself anyway. And he also has this kick that a lot of his partners say, can you just... Because he just drops too many people with it. It's crazy. In this training camp, I've seen him drop maybe 5-6 people with it. And that's just whilst I've been there. And it's so difficult.
When you get Martinez to move up and fight the leg kick, kick war.
That would be horrible to watch. That would be absolutely horrible to watch. It's so interesting because it's like a teep, but he throws it. It's like a teep sort of stab, but he throws it from this angle, and it has no tell on it,
It's
and
so
it
hard to read.
looks
It's
like
like,
everything else.
Like Alex Pereira, like his calf kicks, the way he throws them, sort of just no sort of tail wind up, no setup, just sort of swings them out in front, and it just they connect, and it adds up. And similar sort of vibe.
The accuracy that he has with this is just absolutely frightening. Just
I think
on
what's
the
so good
liver
about them as well is that the problem with Alex is there's a slight moment there where he's off balance when he throws that kick, just a tiny bit. Nathaniel, you don't get that with him. I feel like as soon as he throws that, he's straight back, weight even on both feet, and that's the danger of it. It's just you can't. It's so difficult because the window is so. There isn't really a window to even check it because it's that fast, and there's no trade off for Nathaniel in the sense that he's off balance at any point because it's just so sharp in. And yeah, I expect that to be a cornerstone of his game plan. I mean, you know more than me, of course, being at GBTT in and out. But yeah, I fancy Nathaniel as well completely. I think I could see a TKO in the third, perhaps, maybe decision.
I asked Ash. I said, "What do you think about this one? How's this one going to go?" And he said, "I think he's going to submit him with either a banana split or a twister."
I don't even know what a banana split is. I've never even heard of that.
Do you know what a Sulov stretch is?
Yes, yeah.
Similar.
There's only two of them in the UFC. Do you know who did them though? Is the question. I'm gonna test you. They were both on the same night.
Aljo's got one.
They're both on the same night.
Aljo's got one against Cody Stamen.
That's one. Do you know the other one was?
Tell me.
Zabit Magomed Sharipov. Same night.
The biggest what
crazy.
if. The biggest
I know,
what
indeed. I had a chat with him on the stream, actually. He's a doctor now. Pretty crazy.
Did you have a chat with him?
Huh?
Did you
no, chat about him.
Oh,
no,
sorry.
Mate, I wish, mate. That would be pretty nuts. I'd like to, though. I think he's kind of out of the game, though, isn't he? I'll throw some other ones at you. Some of these guys I don't know. Javid Basharat, though, fighting versus Victor Henry.
You've gone over the bullet.
Of course. Oh, yeah, sorry. I keep forgetting. Everyone was on his name because he doesn't have his picture here. That's why. His picture's on the site.
Because he's an ominous super villain.
Shara Magomedov. Yeah, oh my God. Have you seen that video of him just assaulting a man on an escalator?
Yeah, I have.
For no... I don't like the man. I can't lie. Why would...
I think he was kissing someone. It wasn't unprovoked.
Yeah, and he just...
Not that that's provoked.
Yeah, no.
Actually...
Yeah, you're getting it now. You're getting it now, mate. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the problem with these guys is you never know until you know. And like, what comes to mind? I spoke about this on stream as well. I know I keep bringing up the stream, but we had a chat about that. Do you remember?
Did you?
Was it Askarov? His name was? Yeah, I streamed last. Shut up. Shut up. No, it was the guy. Do you remember? There was a Askarov or Askilarov, whatever his name is. Yeah, he forged his record, and he had this big sort of ominous aura about him. And turns out it was all a big lie, and he was actually pretty shit. And then they cut
that's
him.
not Alice.
And I'm not saying, is it Alice Garov? No. Who was it? Do you know what I'm talking about?
That isn't Shara Bullet. I'm telling you that for a fact.
That's what I was wondering. Him. I don't know too much about how good this guy is. I just know he's got a crazy eye. No offense to him, and he looks very creepy and scary, which could work in his favor. As ability-wise, yeah, one of the brothers. I don't know his ability. If you could fill me in there, what he's done. A lot of people are talking about him, though.
He's from Dagestan. He's a crazy kickboxer. But he can grapple as well. He's a pretty terrifying prospect. And you have a look who he's matched him up with. Who's he matched up with? Bruno Silva. That's who he's matched up with. Silva. It was a rhetorical question. And guess who got matched up with Bruno Silva before he got catapulted into the top ranks of the middleweight division?
Brendan Allen.
No.
Yes.
No.
That's what I'm looking at.
No. He didn't.
Tavares?
No.
Gael Murshat.
Alex Pereira.
Oh, Alex Pereira.
Down. And Alex Pereira didn't knock him out. And I don't think Bruno Silva had been knocked out previously. But tell me if I'm wrong. Has he not been knocked out since?
You are correct.
This is my point, right? So
he got subbed by Brendan Allen.
Yeah,
he hasn't been KO'd. He KO'd Brad Tavares and got submitted by Gerald Mearshart, which clearly there's a pattern there. I think submission
because he
game
got hurt
is where it is.
By Gerald. He got hurt. He didn't get submitted. Well, he obviously did get submitted, but he got a bit clubbed and subbed. And that's an oversimplification. GM3's got the most submissions in middleweight history, so he's no schmuck, and he's actually
no slouch at all.
He's actually fighting Craig Jones.
Yeah, no, it's so grappling. Yes,
Craig Jones.
Yeah, I was wondering. I couldn't remember. It was at the back of my mind. I was like, who is it? He's on a grappling event.
Yeah.
Polaris, yeah.
But my point is, I think he may have been altered by Alex Pereira.
Yeah, maybe.
Significantly.
I don't know.
Compromise.
Well, I'm not, honestly, I don't know much about the Sharon Magomedov guy. Clearly got a crazy good record, but again, you don't know with these things until we see it on the big stage. So I'm excited.
True.
He's the first fight on there, unless things change around. I did notice Nathaniel Wood is now on the prelims.
I'm buzzing about that.
He's on the prelims, mate.
Yeah, I'm buzzing about that.
Oh, I thought you said he was. Oh, were you?
Yeah,
Why?
of course.
I thought you said you were gassed because he was going to be on the main card. I know that.
No. When I got told that, and it was on the website as that, it wasn't just some
I agree.
figment of my imagination. Logistically, it's just so much easier for everyone.
It's just done and done, innit?
It's just kind of done and dusted. You sort of know when you're fighting roughly. There's not really any sort of ambiguous.
To be last, man.
Yeah.
I would hate to be last.
Yeah.
Because whenever I'm nervous about something, the worst thing I do
is waiting.
I always end up waiting and sitting and waiting. Because I need to be moving, doing something. Otherwise, I will generally melt and ball up and want to vomit. I can't. Like, do you know what I mean? I can't do it. So literally, imagine being main event waiting for that. I could not do it. That's what I turned up to the arena with 5 minutes to go because I need to be doing something else the whole time. I couldn't sit around waiting. I could not do it.
I don't think
give so much credit.
Could
to these guys,
rock up 5 minutes before.
No, I know. I probably couldn't. But
when I went to my
do my best.
When I went to my friend's fight down in Bournemouth, he was the main event, and it kept getting changed, the times, and pushed back. So I saw what that looked like, of course on a smaller scale, but I saw what that looked like in regards to just being the fighter back there and preparing. And it is crazy. It's so crazy. And it's just something that we don't even think of. For example, when a few fights go to distances, or even in reverse, if a few fights go early and you have to go a lot earlier, the difference it makes for those guys sitting back there, warming up, getting the right level of preparation, making sure you've had enough of a good pump and a good sweat on, and managing your... It goes deeper than just that, because it's managing the energy of the arena. Because you can hear all these screams and these shouts, the doors open and you can see violence, or there's TVs around and you can see the fights, or people are getting... This is another thing. You're sitting there warming up, you're getting your hands wrapped, you've got your headphones in, you're in the zone, and it's like, right, okay, you're going to be on an hour later than expected. You're like, oh, flipping hell, right, I've got to kill an hour, I've got to settle my nerves, got everything. And then what's happening? These people are getting wheeled backstage next to you, all like bloodied and bruised, and you have to just manage all of this emotion and all of your energy, and it really is impressive.
Mate, I nearly fucking died after getting ready for my date yesterday. Let alone, honestly, I'm not even joking, man. If I was honestly, if I'm not even joking, mate. If I was doing that for a fight, I would be vomiting everywhere.
Were you scared?
Nah, what? Yesterday? Well, yeah. The thing is, this always happens. I'm not scared or nothing. And then as soon as you're there, it's fine. It's chill, innit? Yeah, but I don't even know what I was nervous about. I was like, I'm not even nervous for anything. I'm just anxious. And then I was fine, of course, and it was fucking
nervous
good.
Is
so
fine.
like,
You can say you're nervous.
No, of course, no, but I wasn't. It's just like I just get anxious over nothing. I was thinking about. I was like, what am I even getting worried about? Nothing.
What was playing out in your mind? What was the number one?
Oh, mate, you know the drill.
No, I don't.
You know, you don't want to get stood up in that, do you? Like, or anything like that. Like, I don't know if that's happened to you before. It's happened once to me before, and I didn't think it could actually happen. It does happen. I can confirm. I thought the same. It's like, there's no way that actually happened.
What happened?
And then it did happen to me one time. Oh, this was ages ago. It was at uni. Yeah, just like on the day, I went over it the night before, right? Just organise what we're gonna do. And next day, just radio silence. Like as soon as we say I'm leaving, I'm like, fuck's sake. So I'm like waiting there for like 10 minutes, and I knew I'd just sack it off because I was like, I'm not wasting my energy. Yeah, it sucks, but like,
what was the location?
It's a bullet dodge. What? Just where we were meeting, or like,
yeah.
what?
Where did you get stood up?
It was in Nottingham. It was
No, not geographically. I mean, was it a restaurant or?
No. I mean, I can't remember what we were gonna do, to be honest. But we were gonna meet someone and walk somewhere. But it was in like the city centre. It was nothing.
So nothing
crazy,
was booked.
No, we had stuff. We had like stuff we want to do. I just can't remember.
Yeah,
what it was.
so you just rocked up to an ambiguous spot and then walked back home.
It wasn't ambiguous. We knew where we were going to meet.
No, I'm not saying you did get stood up. I'm just saying you didn't go into a fine establishment, table for two, please, a bottle of wine.
I mean, you wouldn't do that anyway. You wouldn't do that on a first date anyway. No way.
I don't know. I don't know what your style is, mate.
Nah, true. Yeah, nah, maybe it's not my style. Nah, not my style. Yeah, no, but it was good. It was good yesterday.
Where did you go?
Greenwich Park.
Nice.
Walked around, did some other stuff. Yeah.
Nice. Did you go to the market?
No, we're going to, but like we wanted to like sit down somewhere for food.
Observatory?
And that, so. We didn't go in the observatory, but we were at the top. We did go to the top.
Planetarium?
No, we should do that though.
Got to do that. That's a great day.
I haven't done it in a long time. Very nice.
Good day.
Yeah, I don't want to delve too much into that, but I mean,
I do.
we can after. But I do want to run through the rest of the card just quickly before we can talk about some other things. What's been going on in the creator space, what you've been doing. Said Nurmagomedov's fighting Muin Gafarov. I like that fight. That's fun. Said Nurmagomedov is really underrated. I feel like he's been on the sharp end.
Is he?
He's been on the wrong end. I like him. He's been on the wrong end of the stick on a couple of fights. I think he is.
Don't think so.
I think he did well against Kakramonov, and that guy is good. He got cut, but that was one of the harshest cuts in the UFC I've ever seen. That guy's good. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was great.
I think he's. I like him. I think he was. I know Martinez beat him, but I think he's fun to watch.
Underrated,
I don't know much about Gafarov. I think a little bit, yeah.
I don't think you can possibly be underrated if your name is Nurmagomedov, first and foremost.
That's true, actually. My always rule set was never bet against Nurmagomedov, and to be fair, the one time I didn't bet on him was when he lost, so I was quite happy about that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know much about his opponent, Gafurov. I don't know if you do. You tend to have much more knowledge of the game than I do.
I don't think that's strictly true.
Oh, he's only had one fight in the UFC.
Who was it?
And he lost. Castaneda. It's not the Italian
John
guy,
Castaneda.
Right? Is he Italian? Please tell me I'm right there. I'm like an absolute
I can't particularly remember, but
no, I think he's Mexican. Yeah, no, he's Mexican. Apologies.
Aside from Nurmagomedov, he is good. Like, he is skilled.
That guy.
He is skilled, but I've never watched him fight and thought he's going to give problems because he's a
good submission game.
Yeah,
he's got good submission game.
He'll beat this fella. If he's not,
I think so.
If he's not sort of sitting around that just below top 15, top 20, he'll probably beat them. But I just think when he gets to people with good conditioning that can push a pace, especially at bantamweight where they both have striking and grappling, I think it's just problematic for him. But you can always improve, so I'm interested.
Yeah,
to see what
the one I really wanted to throw at you though, the feature prelim. I think this is a far closer fight than people are saying. Tim Elliott versus Mohammed Makhachev. I really like this fight. I actually think Tim Elliott is normally when you talk about veteran experience, it tends to be like a bit of a
insult.
That veteran dog in him. Yeah, it's a bit like, we're trying to give him something.
Backhanded compliment.
Backhanded compliment, exactly. But in this case, I actually think it holds a lot of truth there. I think Tim Elliott, he's a very good grappler.
True.
I think I don't think he's slowing down particularly. I think he's always looked pretty good at flyweight.
Yep.
I think Makhachev's actually going to struggle to get him out there. I do think Makhachev will win. I don't think he'll be able to submit Tim Elliott though. I think he'll win by decision. I can see him trying all sorts, but that knee bar might have still affected. We don't know how Makhachev's going to be back after that injury. I don't know. We'll see. Honestly, but you look at that fight, he was losing against Fijo until we got the submission. So I don't know, man. I think Tim Elliott has a very good chance, but Makhachev, I would not be surprised if he wins. But Makhachev, I'm a big fan of. I think he's got a lot of room to grow. Needs to be a bit more responsible with just his overall game plan. Fight IQ needs to improve, but I think that comes with aging, more experience in the cage because he is young. One of the youngest in the roster. He is, isn't he? Isn't he like 20? He's only early 20s.
First of all, I've actually heard. I'm not even going to get into that.
No. What?
It's not that deep. It's not that deep to be honest. But I've just heard that he could be 28.
Fuck off.
He's one of those.
Where have you heard that?
One of those.
Seriously?
Not 28, but not as young.
He's 23 on the record,
as he says. But
he's no. He's got that He's got that sort of. He's got the Middle Eastern / Russian like. He's got anyone from there. You just get a glorious beard game, and you look about 30 by the time you're 20.
But anyway, My point
No. Where have you heard that?
My point was so irrelevant.
No, I don't care. I want to hear
I'm not going to. Why would I say things like that? It doesn't make sense. It would give me no credibility in future. I'm not going to say that.
Oh, come on.
Come on.
What was I going to say?
You know
He's not young though. He's not inexperienced though at all. He's vastly experienced.
He's not experienced.
Vastly experienced.
He's young.
Yeah, no, he is.
I think
he
that
is
becomes
young.
just a general mental thing. Like, you're going to be young, you're going to be lively, you're going to be raring to go and raring to get finishes and win. Rather than being, I think you maybe lose a little bit of that composure you get with age. So I hope that's something to improve on, because I think that came against Malcolm Gordon as well. Malcolm Gordon was catching him a few times. I know he got the armbar at the end of the third round, and it was a really lovely armbar, by the way. But he was, I think, a little bit too willing to try and beat Gordon at his own game, and trying to make a bit of a laugh out of it, really, which is, you never really want to see. And obviously that the composure came back near the end, but I don't know. I feel like his performances have dropped off the last couple of times, even though he's got the wins, of course. But something to work on.
I think
that win over Cody Durden's aged very well, I have to say.
Yeah, because that's exactly what I was going to say.
Beat Jake Hadley, which is a very, very good win. So he's definitely got the ability to go far. I just think it's a mental game for him, in my opinion. And more work on the feet, actually, as well, I'd like to see.
That's what I was going to say is he's fought of a lot of good opponents, not necessarily name-valued opponents, but opponents which would provide a lot of hurdles and stumbling blocks for someone young in their career in the UFC and looking to elevate through the rankings. He's actually had very difficult fights. You look at people like Charles Jordan. Is that his name? Yeah, Charles Jordan.
Jourdain?
No. That's featherweight. Charles Jordan is the one with the terrible haircut, trains in Tiger Muay Thai, and is a Olympic level wrestler. A lot of people with
terrible haircuts.
No, none worse than him.
I just got Australian there.
My point is, he's fought a lot of people that could provide him a lot of difficult problems. And although they've never always been perfect, apart from that Cody Durden finish, which, has aged like fine
Great
wine,
finish.
Which fortunately we were there for, he has this ability to win that not everyone has. And he's had that going back to the amateurs, going back to the IMAFs, going back to his early pro career, and going back to the UFC, where he still hasn't lost. So we sit here and we say, he's had close fights here and close fights there, whilst it's true. And can he make improvements? 100%. But he just has this really uncanny ability to win. And I think when I look at this fight with Tim Elliott, I think Tim Elliott has all the skills to pose problems absolutely everywhere. I just always lean towards Mohamed Makhachev because he just finds ways to win. If it's not conventional, if it's not on the feet, if it's not on the ground, he just grits out these wins. And there's something to be said that when you're 23-0 or whatever it is, I can't remember his record off the top of the dome, but he's never lost in mixed martial arts. When you haven't lost, it's almost like you forget how to lose. And it's like he's almost forgotten how to lose. I know that sounds a little bit silly, but it is a little bit in his performance. I get what you mean.
There's like a fine line there where you don't want to be too overconfident, and then there's also
a mindset
on the other end where you're kind of right there. Yeah,
there's a mindset to it. And I think when I listened to him on the Bisping podcast the other day, he spoke about the leg injury. It wasn't actually as bad as many people thought, just because it looked bad. But he said that when Tim Elliott has lost, he's lost to people that have slightly higher IQ in the cage. And I think if Mohamed goes in there and he collates all of his performances and he puts them all into this performance, I think he goes out there and he can definitely win. Do I think he can stop Tim Elliott? I think that's going to be a tough ask, just because of how resilient, how scrambly, how good he is everywhere. He's awkward, hence his name. But that's another thing. He just has such a difficult style. I'm going to go Makhachev. I'm going to say Makhachev decision. I think he's going to do just enough in each round to win that.
Decision as well. I agree. I think Tim Elliott's got that veteran experience to not get subbed as good as Makhachev's ground game is. But yeah, I agree. Makhachev decision.
Hard
I think
to sub
he's going to be a little bit too much.
Man. They're just so...
It is, man. They're just scrambly and fast and annoying.
You know who was in the gym this week that I got to speak to?
Do tell.
Amir Al-Bazi.
I'm not surprised by that, because I know he's got links to GBTT. Yeah.
Well, he's essentially sort of trains there.
Yeah.
He's from the gym when he's in England, and his brother trains there full time. So that's kind of crazy. It was crazy to me, because that's someone that's looking to. He just beat Kai France. Like, you beat Kai France, you fight for the title. It's sort of how it works, really, at that sort of level. especially at flyweight where it's not necessarily
maybe one more fight, yeah,
potentially, but potentially not. I'm not saying he is or isn't. I'm just saying he's at that level of where he could just get called up and go to a championship fight. So it was interesting to just have that level of ability in the gym. And I was just listening to a few conversations between him and Lonnie Kavanagh, who is just an phenomenal talent. That's one of my favourite fighters to watch, just in all of mixed martial arts, to be honest. So yeah, it was just kind of cool to. I just dropped that in there because you said about flyweights, but
no, of course,
it's about flyweights, but
yeah. I'll just throw a couple more at you. We're just round off the card. Ikram Asgalarov getting a bit of a layup against Wally Alves.
Short notice.
Just refresh your memory. Got that awesome knockout of Phil Hawes. It's his only fight in the UFC, but what a way to kick it off. I mean, wow, that was a crazy KO. Phil Hawes actually was in Danis' corner last night. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did. I made a video.
It's hard not to with that bleached blonde hair.
I made a video.
Yeah.
You think there's a coincidence that Phil Hawes was in his corner?
I mean,
listen.
I don't know. What's the link there? Am I
Hawes?
Very clever. Yeah. No,
not very clever. That's his name. Like, it's not clever at all.
No, I know, but but it makes sense. It makes sense. I get it now.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Took me a minute. Yeah, I see it. Very nice. Yeah, I mean, it's just awful. It's so shit, isn't it? Oh my god! I know more. We're banned from talking about Dillon Danis now. I think we are. I think we just should be. We should ban ourselves. Aliskerov, though, I don't know much about Wally Alves, so I'm gonna go with Aliskerov getting a brutal and bloody finish, probably in the first or second round. That's what I see.
Yeah,
it's middleweight, so they got the power to do it.
They want to. What was the original matchup? I can't remember who was actually meant to be fighting.
Oh no, it was Imavov, wasn't it?
Yeah, because that was actually good because Imavov's
talented.
He is, but I've never seen anything to suggest that he's going to push for the.
No, I'd still pick Aliskerov as well.
Yeah,
I agree.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I like Aliskerov there. I'm assuming you're the same, but we can go to the co-main, Ankalaev, Johnny Walker. I feel like that's only one of two ways. It's either Johnny Walker getting drowned and submitted, or Johnny Walker pulling off a backhanded flying knockout.
You think?
Or something of. Mate, realistically, it's going one of those two ways. It's a Johnny Walker fight. It's two extremes. That's always how it's going to be. I think Johnny Walker has a chance, but let's be real. It's Ankalaev's fight to lose, if you ask me. But I
spoke to Simeon, who went in his training camp for what was his most recent fight? Might have been the Anthony Smith fight, actually. It actually may have been.
Walker, yeah.
And I said to him, what's he like? Simeon's an incredible kickboxer himself, so I was just like, what's he like? What's he like on the feet?
He's improved a lot, to be fair.
Yeah, he has, for certain. And he said, he didn't say anything I wasn't shocked at. He said, like, his boxing's getting better, but he's not a boxer by no means. But he said his athleticism is just absolutely freak. Because the size of him, like, I see Sim, he's big. And Johnny Walker is just absolutely enormous. And his athleticism is crazy. And the same way that when you said about Michel Pereira earlier, the exact time that you were talking about that, I thought, this is exactly what Johnny Walker's doing. It's very much not in a weight situation, in regards to how they're harnessing their flair and now using that as a trump card rather than their first hand, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's
like your ace in the hole.
Yeah, that's what I think Johnny Walker's doing now. And I've never seen much that's got me excited about Ankalaev. I'll say it. I don't care.
Oh, your camera's gone just there. No, I agree, but I think it's I don't know. I feel like his grappling is good. I don't think you can deny that. But Jan Blachowicz put on a very good performance against him. I know the general consensus was he lost that fight, and Ankalaev deserves to be
Did you see anything particularly special that blew you away?
Yeah, nothing special. I agree with you there, but I think it's enough to get over the line against Johnny Walker for sure.
I'm not saying he doesn't.
He'll drown him. He'll drown him and
in
either
3 rounds
or just grind into a decision. That's what I think.
Agree.
Yeah,
I just don't
decision.
I don't agree because I've never seen Ankalaev go on the front foot and be the aggressor for 3 rounds and put a pace on. He's a little bit more of a counter striker than that. He's not just strictly a counter striker, but I've never seen him go out and put on a blistering pace. Can't see him doing that against Johnny Walker. I can't see him tiring out Johnny Walker in 3 rounds.
I'm glad you're coming in there with the hot take. I feel like that's a bit of a hot take.
I don't think it's that hot,
big underdog.
to be honest. Is it?
I mean, the odds suggested it is.
Because he's Russian.
He's got a big favourite.
Come on.
Yeah, Fair enough.
Like, am I lying here?
No,
What has
you're
Uncle
not.
Ive done that has said, oh, okay, he's going to blow Johnny Walker out the water? I'm not saying
I mean,
he's
he's
not
fought for a
going
belt.
to. Yeah, but what
And
was that
deservedly
performance? Yeah, but what was that
Should have won it.
performance? It was like a good
I didn't say it
close
was great.
fight with Jan Blachowicz, who's incredible. But did he do anything that's suggesting, okay, we've got Johnny Walker on the flip side, who's on a flipping great role of consistency.
We'll see.
Started putting
I'm
his game
still
together.
sticking to my guns here. I would love Johnny Walker to win, but I'm going to stick with Uncle Ive.
I think Uncle Ive could. He might still win. I'm not even.
Well, you got to make a pick, mate. What's your pick?
I think Johnny
You
Walker's
got
going
to
to
gun
win.
to your head. I like that.
I think Johnny
like
Walker's going to win.
different.
I think he's going to have more output. I think it's going to come down to an output thing. I don't think anyone's going to get finished. I don't think Uncle Ive's that aggressive. I don't think he's going to put a pace on him. And I think that Johnny Walker's going to be able to do an... Do I think he can take him down? And I don't think that happened. I think Johnny Walker's actually got a few slick moves on the ground that he might be in for a little surprise, Uncle Ive, and he might think, you know what, I don't want to do that again. Don't forget that he just recently got a submission win, so...
Yeah. I don't hate the pick either, because it's Johnny Walker. You fucking never know when he's fighting, but... Uncle Ive, I'll stick with. I'm going to go with Uncle Ive decision.
Yeah, it's not a crazy pick, you know what I mean? I'm just saying there might be some Russian bias towards that. And the unbeaten thing, sorry.
So you going what? Decision, KO, TKO, sub?
I'm gonna go Johnny Walker decision.
Yeah, I don't think Uncle Ive's... I think he's defensively sound enough not to get finished. But speaking of defensively sound, Kamaru Usman
97%
does pretty well. Yeah. I'm not going to pick him though. I am picking Khamzat Chimaev. I think and I love Usman. I would love Usman to win here because I always gave him. I was obviously rooting for him, and I'm sure you were against him in the last couple of fights because of Leon. But it was
never.
Mean?
Last couple of fights, he hasn't fought anyone.
Well, since he fought Leon twice. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but
last two times he's fought Leon,
and I've rooted against him. I rooted against him in the last couple of fights. Sorry,
that's what I mean.
Yes,
like I said, I know
yes.
I've rooted. I mean, assuming you were the same rooting against him, but it's nothing personal, right? You know, I don't think we could ever deny.
I wasn't rooting against
greatness.
Him. I was just rooting for Leon.
You're rooting for Leon, exactly. Yeah. So it's not something you can ever deny his greatness. You know, he's one of the greatest welterweights of all time. I do think he's over the hill, but I do think moving up to middleweight, you know, even if it is on shortness, is actually going to aid in there because speed and reaction isn't just that fine little margin is going to help a little bit. Against a guy like Khamzat, man, it's going to be it's a tough, just about as tough of a hill you got to climb. And I do think Usman's over that sort of physical hill in terms of his prime. I think he's past that. Obviously coming off, you know, his knees. I don't know if he's gone through surgery, has he? I don't know if that's true. No, I don't think so. He had hand surgery before the Leon fight. His knees are shot. He's old. I do think he's got the ability to hang in now. No, I'm not selling it well for him, but like
knees are short. He's old. No,
Jesus and I love him. But these are the reality you've got to face. It's true. It's true though. I'm not saying anything that's not true.
But if I were to reverse,
he does have the ability.
Yeah, but if I were to actually flip that and say, okay, cool, that's all valid points. Are they valid points 2 fights ago? I'd say, yeah, they're valid points 2 fights ago. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's true.
How were his last 2 fights? Well, he went 10 rounds, theoretically, very close rounds, with one of the pound-for-pound best and champion in the division. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, he's actually been very competitive. Even he was past the hill 2 years ago, probably, in regards to his athletic prime. He probably was.
I think so.
So
I think so.
The fact that he's gone out
but
there...
the thing is, it's only going to be even more apparent now. That's the thing. You say that as if it's not still true. It's going to be even more apparent now. That's my point. It's not going to get any better for him. I don't think so.
Because
And I love Usman. If he would win, I would be very, very happy. But I don't see it. I think Chimaev's going to have the youth on his side. That's it. Really.
Yeah,
he's going to have the youth. He's going to have the speed, and he's going to have the fire and the hunger. You know, this is a big thing. The way I see it. Sorry, I just want to just on a tangent. Is the way I see it is there's one thing climbing the mountain and getting to the top. There's another thing falling back down and climbing back up again. And I don't think Usman's going to be able to do it because I think, you know, I think the fact that he's reached all the goals of his sport in the sport for him so late in his career rather than a bit earlier. I think that's going to be the crux of it. I think if he becomes a champion earlier in his career, a bit younger, I think maybe he'd have a better chance. But it's just his journey's coming to its end now. That's the way I see it. It's the fight game. He's not going to have much longer in there. I would love for him to win. I just don't see it. I think Chimaev's going to have the youth on his side. That's the only way I see the fight going. Personally,
if I were playing devil's advocate, I would say he's not had a training camp for this fight, like an extensive training camp. Benefit. I'd say that's a benefit, really, to be perfectly honest. More than I think that's more of a benefit than it is a hindrance. I think, yes, he would be a tad sharper. Yes, his eyes would be sharper, 100%. Not going to disagree with that. Do I think that a 6-week fight camp or 8-week fight camp on his body at this point in his career is beneficial? No, I don't. It's 185 pounds. Doesn't have to cut weight. Cool, we know that.
You have to cut a bit, surely.
Yeah, sorry.
Guy's
like,
massive.
he's not cutting to one. He is massive, but I doubt he weighs that much, though. I doubt he walks around that heavy.
I reckon he's walking like 195.
Probably two.
Maybe
Yeah, I'd
200.
say 200. I'd say about 200
Yeah.
pounds. So it's like, it will probably be a light water cut, nothing drastic, right? And like I said, he's taking this on short notice. I think there's a lot of positives in it for Usman, to be perfectly honest. I really, really do. I think if I look at how the fight's going to play out, people are saying, oh, he's going to just take Usman down and smash it out. I don't know what you've seen to suggest that that's going to happen, but just going off of evidence before, I think this is going to be... The thing is with Gilbert Burns, when Hamzat fought him, is he was a little bit worried of his guard. As soon as Gilbert went on his back, he was, and rightly so.
I don't think that was the case. I think he just got lured into a striking battle. It was a lapse of fight IQ.
In that first round, when Gilbert was on his back, you didn't see a little bit of fear in his eyes when he saw his guard.
I don't think Hamzat would be scared of Burns' guard as good as it is.
Bro,
realistically,
come on.
I disagree.
You don't think Hamzat was a little bit afraid of Gilbert Burns'
I mean, he was obviously wary of it, but I don't think he was worried about it.
I disagree.
That's what I see. And maybe that's a detriment. I think he got lured into the striking battle, which is where I think that is the key. I think if Usman is able to do that, then I think he can win. I think he's got to be able to learn there, keep it on the feet. Whether that's down to takedown defense or lack of takedown offense from Usman, I think keeping it on the feet is the path to victory for Kamaru. I think he's got more power. Yeah, and I think he has. I think he's much more striking. His striking is far better than Chimaev's. I think Chimaev's sloppy, leaves openings. I think the reason Chimaev's is good is because he changes it with his the threat of the takedown. So,
but
I like
the thing is, with Chimaev is you never know with Chimaev where he's at because he's still young in the sport. Technically, if he has a year off, we know what Kamaru Usman's going to look like. Really, isn't? We know how he's going to look. We do. We don't know what Chimaev's going to look like. We really don't. We don't know how his striking is going to look. And also, what we have to factor in is, I know we saw the Kevin Holland fight. It wasn't really a fight. The Gilbert Burns fight, that was his first ever sort of bloodthirsty... I don't think he ever fights like that again. I think he learned a lot from that fight, and I don't think he's going to ever fight like that again.
No, I agree. I think the Kevin Holland fight showed that he was ready to just... First thing he did was shoot a fucking takedown, you know? I don't see it... Yeah, I agree. I don't see him getting lured into that, but it could happen. You don't know in this game, we'll see.
Can Usman press an uncomfortable pace? Because...
I hope that's what I'd like to see, yeah. If he can keep Chimaev on the back foot, yeah, I like his chances.
If we're talking cardio, it's Kamaru.
When have you ever seen Chimaev taking a back step? I mean, I know in the Burns fight, but that was everything went out the window in that. But besides that, name another time Chimaev's taken a step on the back foot. I'm hard pressed to think of one.
Well, he hasn't.
Yeah,
it won't.
That's what I mean. But if he can do it,
definitely
not.
Gerald Mershaw.
GM3, yeah.
It won, and it's never happened.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
I just think 3 rounds is definitely... Kamaru Usman hasn't fought 3 rounds since 2018. So he's going to press it. He'll be able to go, what, I haven't got to do 2 extras. Yeah. We're like, sweet, right, let's go from the bell. And Kamaru Usman will press that pace.
Crazy conditioning, by the way. Can we just say that?
Ridiculous. Yeah, ridiculous.
Fighting 25 minutes every fight for 5 years is mental.
Ridiculous.
But speaking of mental, the main event, I can't wait. What a fucking upgrade. And I love Charles Oliveira, but this is greatness we're talking about. This is legacy. This is one of the most important fights of all time.
Jeez.
Alexander Volkanovski on 10 days notice.
11.
About to shock the world, man. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. I'm just going to go straight in there. There is no sense of confidence or logic in my pick, but I am absolutely going Alexander Volkanovski because I love that man. I love that short, scary human being with the bald head.
I want to rub his head.
I do. I'll fly, mate. I'll fly straight to is it Wollongong? Is that what it's called? Where he lives?
Can't fly there.
I'm flying over there.
Can't fly there. It's Sydney.
You can't fly there.
To Sydney.
Oh, your camera's gone again. Yeah, I will go over there just to shine it. But yeah, I can see him getting it done. It's just the way I see it. I was talking about this on stream. Is again, I'll set up plugging it again. But I think if anyone's gonna do it on short notice, it's gonna be Alexander Volkanovski. It really is because he's the only one crazy enough to take that. Because he's realistically, if he loses this, I don't think he gets another shot at the lightweight belt again.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
So this is it for him. And I don't think anything's going to be different in terms of preparation. In terms of, I think all that's going to be there in the last 10 days here is bit of tape study, and then just making the weight cut. He's already going to be in shape. A guy like Volkanovski, the pound for pound number 1, he is already going to be ready for that fight, and he always has been. I don't think there's going to be anything new. I don't think either guy is going to bring anything too different. I think it's a case of patching the holes and the mistakes they made in the first fight, and just seeing who comes out on top. And I think if Volkanovski can remain a bit more defensively responsible on the feet, respect Islam's striking and his range, I think he can get him. He needs to press Islam against the cage because that's where he was having the success. Push him back to the fence, use those feints, start switches, put it all together, keep him against the fence and land, and I think he can get the decision. I really do. Those butterfly hooks as well on the ground. You think he's going to finish him?
I think he's going to knock him out. Going?
I fucking love that. I love that. I really hope so as well.
I think there's times when I make predictions for fights where there's just a feeling. I
can see a ground and pound.
There's just fate. There's just fate sometimes.
Oh, mate, I might cry. I might cry if he wins it. I'm not gonna lie. The only time I've ever come close to tears and I shed a bit of a tear was when in the Leon speech. Yeah, like I shed a little bit of a tear there because I was like defending that man so much. And this is if Volkanovski wins, I might get in my feels a little bit. And that's just how much we love him. We're not even from Australia. We love that guy so much.
Deep down, I am.
Wait. Oh yeah, deep. Yeah, mentally, I'm there.
I've never left.
I've never been. I still thought about going, but it's hot, man. I'm not built for that. I'm not built for the heat, bro. You understand? I grill. But I think he can do it. Yeah, I do. Honestly, the way I see it, it's hard to see him getting a win. It is.
I don't think it's going to be a different fight, really. To be honest, I think it looks the same.
I think it looks the same as well. It's just a matter of fixing the holes they had both guys had in the first fight. I think Islam's got to be a bit more. I think a bit more spare. Like use his takedowns a bit more sparingly. I think he shot on them a few too much times, and Volk was ready for him. Volk did very well defending a lot of those takedowns. The butterfly hooks, as I said, worked really well in his favor. Allowed him to scramble out. Yeah, it was beautiful. Did really good work there. So I don't know. It's such a tricky fight, isn't it? Because this is the two of the greatest fighters.
He's going to come out hot
right now.
Volk will come out hot for 2-3 rounds, 100%. I think he's
going to put his foot down.
He said, and I think it's true. He said, "Do I know I can go fight?" He was like, "Yeah," but he was like, "I don't want to really test it because we have to remember Islam. You got to give all props to Islam, by the way. He's like taking this stylistic matchup.
I don't think he gets enough more shit than he deserves.
No, 100%. I'm big Islam Makhachev fan.
I'm a huge Islam fan as well.
And if you go back on my channel from 2-3 years ago, I was saying this guy is the legit future, 100%. When people
he's
were
quite
saying,
funny as well. I think he's actually quite funny.
Like
he's got a good bit of personality.
I like him a lot. Yeah. I just think this fight doesn't look a lot different on either side, to be honest. I think a difference we have to factor in is, the last thing I was saying is, he does get a longer rehydration period. He will look bigger. He will look fresher. And there's some fights that I think just come down to fate. And I can just sort of see a world where Volk has him corralled a little bit against the cage. Islam's counter-striking is just so clean. I think he's going to land shots. I just think he's always going to land shots. Knees, straight lefts. I think he's just got that.
Volk's going to have to throw himself into the fire.
I think Volk's going to have to go into the fire a little bit. I think he's going to have to walk into the cauldron, and I think he's just going to go left hook to the body, right hand over the top. Ilia Topuria versus...
I'm visualising Jai Herbert.
And I think he doesn't necessarily knock him clean, but he gets him to the floor and he just bases, and Volk just empties the tank. He just empties the tank with elbows and punches, and he Michael Bisping's Luke Rockhold right here. That's how I see this guy.
You get me very excited.
I'm getting excited.
Could you, mate? Yeah, mate. This is legacy, isn't it? This is one of the ones. John Anik said it best. I think in 284 when they first fought, right before they started, and and the ref called them in for the first round. He said, "You'll remember where you were when you watched this fight." It's just not the exact words, but pretty much exactly along those lines, And I think this one even more so represents that, because this, yeah. I mean, it's even more so. Like, it's such a. This is it, man. Like this. When do we ever get to watch the pound for pound number 1 and number 2 fight once is enough? Let alone a second time. We are being treated. We're being treated.
Where will you be for it?
I'll probably be here. I'm going to try and get some mates watching it because it'll be a normal time for us UK fans. So I'm going to do my best to get people watching over here. I don't know. I thought about doing a watch long, but I don't know. As I said, I don't
do it.
We've talked about, I like being, I don't have to worry about,
Dialed
appeasing
in.
to other people. Yeah, exactly. We're going for an hour and 10, so I don't think we should go on it too further. I know we didn't get to talk too much about the creator stuff and a bit more into our, content creation lives, but
My week.
there was a lot to talk about in terms of the combat sports. Yeah, I mean, we can always catch up on that next week. I think there's been a lot of, it was pretty valid today. A lot of interesting stuff to talk about in terms of the boxing and the MMA world. Yeah, it was a good little chat. Same time next week, every Sunday. MMA Creators Podcast. We'll see you next week.